Before we jump into today's episode, I have some exciting news to share. The Empowered Educator Show has been recognized by Million Podcasts as one of the top 100 career change podcasts for 2026. And I'm honored to share that we're ranked number 19. That's 19 out of 100. Thank you so much for being part of this incredible community of educators and leaders. Your support, your downloads, reviews, and your shares have made this possible. If you would like to see the complete top 100 list, I've included a link in today's show notes. Picture this. It's the first week of August and your desk has disappeared. No, not because someone's stolen it, because it's buried under calendars and schedules and supply lists and staffing changes and parent emails, professional development plans, or like me, professional development books, technology issues, and that one sticky note that simply says, don't forget. Forget what? You can't remember. Here's what I've learned after years in school leadership. The principal who feels the most overwhelmed in August usually isn't the one with the most to do. They're the ones who haven't decided what deserves their attention first. Because here's the reality. If I handed you another 50 things to add to your back to school checklist, and mine seems to be growing, you could probably find room for them. That's what principals do. We just keep adding to the list. But it's not about having a really long checklist, and it's not about checking all of those things off of your list. It's about knowing which of these things will actually make the other things easier. And that's really the difference between spending September reacting to problems and spending September leading your school with confidence. So today, I want you to stop chasing every task and start focusing on the priorities that create momentum. If you get these 10 things right before students walk through the doors, you're going to set the tone for the entire school year. Let's get started.
The three systems of leadership: leading, learning, logistics. Go the extra mile, motivate, inspire. Go the extra mile, lead, empower. Principles take action. Let's go. Fuel your passion. Go the extra mile. Let's go. Principles take action. Motivate, inspire. Go the extra mile. Lead, empower.
Welcome back to the Empowered Educator Show. I'm your host, Dr. Mel. It's August. Oh my goodness. It is going to be here before we know it. And there's a good chance that your brain is carrying around about 147 open tabs right now. And I know this because I have about 147 tabs open, not only on my computer, but in my brain as well. And I'm not even going to lie, guys. I wake up in the middle of the night thinking of things that need to be accomplished for school. You know, you've got staffing concerns. I still have a couple of open positions at my own school. Curriculum questions. And that includes me because my principal, the one who knew everything and actually ran the campus, he's gone. He went to another school to be head of schools. And so now I'm trying to learn curriculum because last year was my first year and I had to learn my job as superintendent. And now I have to absorb all of the stuff that he did, which is actually a lot. And curriculum is one of those. We have to make sure we're communicating with parents in a timely manner because my parents are already asking things. Professional development, technology, open house. Ours is actually called a back to school bash and it's on a Saturday and it is a huge thing and it takes a lot of work to get that ready. And I just realized that I hadn't actually added safety drills to the schedule yet. And of course, there's always building maintenance. And if you run buses, you may have bus maintenance or vehicle maintenance if you have other vehicles in your district. The list seems endless. But here's the problem with having this big, long list of things to do. When everything feels equally important, nothing actually gets prioritized. And new leaders, they will often mistake activity for progress. You are probably working 12-hour days, checking off that task list. But you're not stopping to ask this one simple question. Which of these actions will make the biggest difference once students arrive? That's where systems thinking changes everything. Instead of trying to do everything at once, empowered leaders identify the handful of priorities that create momentum for everything else. Today, I want to walk you through 10 priorities that fit inside of the 3 systems that I teach: leader, logistics, learning. Because when you strengthen those 3 systems before school begins, you're not just preparing for opening day, you're actually preparing for the entire school year. Let's start with a couple of leader systems. So your first priority, or priority number 1, is going to be to cast the vision. Before your teachers hear your expectations, they need to hear the purpose. They need to be reminded of the why. People rarely give their best effort for a checklist, guys. They give their best effort for a mission. Simon Sinek reminds us that people are inspired by why we do something before what we ask them to do. And that's one of the tenets of adult learning. If your opening staff meeting is 90 minutes of procedures followed by 5 minutes of vision, you've unintentionally communicated what matters most. Instead, start with purpose. Talk about the students. Talk about the culture that you're building. Talk about what success is going to look like in June, not just August and September. When I was a principal for the first time, we had a theme that school year. But as I look back now, I don't even remember what it was. It was something cutesy, like I think we did superheroes or something one year, because I do remember having a picture with a cape on. But that theme as a superhero did not actually do anything. It didn't really move the needle forward. It was just cute. We all had shirts and things like that. At my school now, we have a theme that actually matters. It actually unites our why with our what. Our theme this year, and of course we're a Christian school, so it's Bible-based. It is Esther 4:14. For such a time as this is our overarching phrase, but our tagline is be bold, be faithful, be ready, because it actually matters to our vision and what we're trying to accomplish through our new profile of a graduate that we created last year, and to the work we're trying to do with our students and create leaders, and also the work that I'm trying to do in creating leaders with my teachers. So have that theme, guys. Create a school theme, because it is awesome when you are able to have everything based around that theme. Just make sure that that theme is actually something that ties all your work this year to your vision. Priority number 2, meet individually with every teacher. Here's something that I wish that every new leader understood. Relationships are built before they're needed. If your first meaningful conversation with teachers, especially if you are new to a district and you don't know everybody, if that first conversation happens after a problem develops, you're already behind. Use these meetings to ask questions. What excites you this year? What worries you? How can I best support you? What does success look like for you? Leaders, the goal isn't evaluation, it's understanding. Research from Gallup consistently shows that employees who feel that their managers care about them as people are significantly more engaged at work. That principle absolutely applies in schools, where relationships drive commitment and performance. I just had everybody get on my calendar last year. I created a link so they could just jump on my calendar and they could schedule a time to speak with me last year before school started. And I'm getting ready to do that again so that they can come in during teacher in-service week when we have time for them scheduled in their classrooms, but they can pop into my office and they can talk to me about different things. Google Calendar is a wonderful tool that will take that scheduling right off of your plate, and they can just jump right on there. You can set your calendar where you have certain times that they can use to meet with you, and you can send that out and let them schedule their own time. I keep my link right below my signature line on my email. And the third priority is to build your communication system. Confusion creates anxiety, but predictability builds trust. Before school begins, decide how you're going to communicate. Things like weekly newsletters, staff updates, parent communication, emergency messages. Don't leave communication to chance, guys. We know that is so important. That was one of the biggest pieces of feedback from our teacher and parent surveys and focus groups last year. Create rhythms that your staff and your families can depend on. Now let's move into your logistics systems. So priority number 4 is to finalize staffing and responsibilities. One of the quickest ways to create frustration is role ambiguity. Every teacher should know what's expected. Every paraprofessional should know their responsibilities. Every office staff member should understand who owns what. And that's something that we worked on last year because roles had switched. We lost some staff, so people absorbed some duties. And I noticed that people were doing things that didn't make sense. So I took a day during one of our leadership meetings and I hung a piece of anchor chart paper on the wall for each person. And I just had them list every single duty that they could think of that they owned right at that moment. And then we realized that certain people should own different things. So then it was easier to shift those duties to the right person. Jim Collins writes that great organizations begin by getting the right people in the right seats. That's true in schools too. Don't assume that your people know. You have to clarify. Priority number 5, master the calendar. The calendar tells your staff what you value. If every square is filled with meetings, you've communicated that meetings matter the most. If instructional walkthroughs are blocked on your calendar first, you've communicated that classrooms matter most. I put it on my calendar so no one accidentally, because I don't own my own calendar by myself, I have people putting things on there for me as well. I block off my walkthroughs, observations, and my coaching meetings very first thing so nobody accidentally puts something over one of those. Priority number 6, verify safety and operations. Safety is leadership. Families assume that you've already thought through emergencies. Teachers assume that procedures are clear. Students assume that adults know exactly what to do. Walk your building. Check all of the doors. Test radios. Review drills. You really need to get with your facilities person because I am brand new to the campus. Well, I was brand new last year. I've learned a lot more, but there are still a few things that I am learning because, again, my principal who was here before, he was the facilities director because I couldn't absorb that last year. And there are still things that I don't know. So I continually walk with my new facilities director so I can make sure I'm in the know because that is important. Don't let your assumptions replace your verification. According to the Wallace Foundation, principals who intentionally develop strong organizational systems create conditions that actually allow teachers to focus much more fully on their instruction. And that's what good operational leadership accomplishes. Priority number 7 is to make sure that technology is ready before it becomes a problem. Nothing destroys that first week momentum faster than technology surprises. You may not be the technology person. I actually hope you are not because that is a big load for you to carry. So if you have someone who is the technology leader in your district, have them log into everything. Verify that they've logged into everything. Test those classroom computers and Chromebooks. Verify Google accounts. If you have new staff, they may not know how to hook the technology up in their classroom. Pop into those classrooms where you're going to have new teachers and make sure that the technology is put together and that everything is working so those teachers don't stress over that one little thing. Whatever staff owns whatever piece of technology, even your student information system, make sure that everything is ready to go. It may not be your job to do the actual work, but it is your job to verify that the actual work is being done. And if something can fail, assume it will, and discover it before your teachers or your students do, and especially before that first day of school. The last system is learning. Priority number 8, ensure curriculum readiness. Your teachers should spend the first week teaching, not hunting for materials. Verify the curriculum is in the classrooms, especially if you've moved classrooms, because we've actually moved some things around. We've actually flipped sides of the building for our 4th and 5th with our K1 and 2. And I wanted to order some things the other day. And so I was looking in those classrooms and I couldn't actually find the curriculum. So I needed to make sure that the curriculum was where it needed to be for the teacher that needed it. And don't forget that your new teachers, if they are brand new to teaching, may not know how to use the curriculum correctly. That can be part of your teacher orientation for your new staff, but it can also be something that their buddy teacher helps them with as the year goes along. Review pacing guides with everyone. Confirm standards alignment. Make sure that everyone has what they need before students arrive. Preparation creates instructional confidence. Priority number 9, clarify instructional expectations. Don't assume that teachers know what great instruction looks like in your building. You have to define it. What should every classroom include? How should learning objectives be posted? How will assessments be used? What does student engagement look like in your mind? Clarity is going to eliminate the guesswork for your teachers. And just remember that they had someone telling them last year, before you came, maybe a different mental model than what you have. So make sure that you communicate your mental model. And don't just go in all gung-ho and say, oh, I want you guys to change all of this stuff. Your teachers probably are good teachers already, and they're probably already doing much of the stuff in some fashion already. Don't go in all guns a-blazing. Make sure that you communicate your vision, but also listen to your teachers. This is a place where you can ask some of those questions when you have that conversation with your teachers before school starts. John Hattie's research reminds us that clarity, both teacher clarity and instructional feedback, has one of the strongest influences on student achievement. We made it to priority 10, guys. Build your coaching system. Walkthroughs shouldn't feel like inspections. They should feel like support. You are not the fire marshal. You are the building leader. So take some time and decide what you're going to look for, how often you're going to visit classrooms, how quickly that you're going to provide feedback. And trust me, it needs to be very quick. Michael Fullen reminds school leaders that improvement happens through continuous learning, not isolated evaluation. The best principals coach every week, not just during evaluation season. By wisdom, a house is built, and through understanding, it is established. Through knowledge, its rooms are filled with rare and beautiful treasures. A school isn't built simply by opening the doors. It's built through intentional leadership, through planning, and wise systems that allow your people to flourish. As principals, we're not just preparing classrooms. We're creating an environment where students and teachers can grow into who God called them to be. Let's recap those 10 priorities. Priority 1, cast the vision. Priority 2, meet individually with every teacher, maybe even every staff member. Priority 3, build your communication system. Priority 4, finalize staffing and responsibilities. Priority 5, master the calendar. Priority 6, verify safety and operations. Priority 7, prepare technology before it becomes a problem, or verify technology before it becomes a problem. Priority 8, ensure that the curriculum is ready and in the right classrooms. Priority 9, clarify instructional expectations. And priority 10, build your coaching system. Most principals think that August is about finishing a checklist, but the principals who thrive understand something different. They're not just completing tasks. They're creating alignment. They're building systems that help people succeed after the excitement of the first day has faded. If you invest your time in these top 10 priorities, strengthening yourself as a leader first, then building dependable logistics systems, and then creating strong instructional practices, you're going to walk into this school year with far more than a completed checklist. You're going to walk in with confidence, because confidence doesn't come from having everything perfect. It comes from knowing that you've built the right foundation. Here's your Power Surge statement. Empowered leaders don't win the school year by checking every box. They win by building the systems that make every box easier to manage. Before you move on to the next item on your to-do list, choose just one of these 10 priorities and take that first step today. Small, intentional actions now will save countless hours once your students arrive. If this episode encouraged you, share it with a new principal or leadership teammate who could use just a little clarity before the school year begins. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and maybe leave a review to help a girl out, because your reviews help get my show in front of more people. And that helps more school leaders discover the practical strategies to lead with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Have an amazing weekend. I will see you back here next week. Bye-bye.
Principles take action.